It's a vlogging Colonel. This is the Colonel's vlog. Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining me. A little bit winded from moving around. Now, I'm at the Blackacre Estate Conservatory. This is a conservatory and preserve, nature preserve, also preserving this amazing old homestead here. Now, this was built in the 1790s by the Tyler family. A guy named Moses Tyler built this. Has the main house here, log cabin structure, various outhouses, various and sundry things, a wood chopping shed, a general store kind of thing, but also something else very special. The thing that I'm here today to see. Now, the plan today is to locate and document some of the various spring houses that are located in this area of Kentucky. Middletown, Breckenridge, Hurstbourne, all those areas. Now, some of you won't know what a spring house is. I confess that I did not know until very recently. Although I have seen them my whole life, I did not know the significance of them. And I think I see one right over here. Now, when you and me have modern refrigerators, freezers, ice boxes. We call them an ice box because our grandparents and great-grandparents, they had ice boxes. That was literally a block of ice you put in a insulated box, keep your milk and eggs and stuff cool. Not necessarily keep your eggs cool, but you know what I'm saying, your meat. Now, prior to that time, if you were fortunate enough to be near a spring, to find a spring, and Kentucky is chock full of springs, you would have had a spring house. Now, the primary purpose of a spring house was to be a protection for the wellhead, provide a covering over the source of the well from animal feces, contaminations, things like that. But it served a secondary dual purpose, which was refrigeration, natural refrigeration. Now here's a spring house right here. And that one's built in the 1790s. And this one, we're right over there is the Tucker Railroad track. This is, I guess, the Tucker Creek station here. Should have been the train station at the time. There's a little sign here, let's see what it says. Spring House, 1795. Limestone Spring House was constructed in 1795, one of the oldest two-story spring houses in Kentucky. And the clever design of the structure allowed for less perishable items such as jams, pickles, and wine to be stored in the upper level, along with providing a cool place during summer to churn butter. And on the lower level, milk, crocks of cream, eggs, and other dairy products could be stored in hollowed-out trenches, kept cool by continually flowing water from the underground spring. Now, the stream from the spring also continued into wooden troughs that supplied fresh water to the farm's livestock. And during the 1930s, the pond and cistern located in the back down there was added. It served as a collection point for the water from the barn and house. It was used to feed the animals and livestock. So here it is, the first of today's spring houses. And I was not sure I'd be able to find it easily. Didn't know where it would be. But hey, you could just see the top of it when you're standing in front of the big house. Now, this is arguably the oldest structure in the state of Kentucky. That is contested with another spring house, which we are also going to view today, hopefully, which is the Chenoweth Station house. But this one still has 2 stories on it. And I believe the only one that does remaining. Now, if I'm not mistaken, either the Chenoweth or Floyd's spring house, I think, had a second story, which was ultimately destroyed by vandals, so it was reduced to the 1 story. So while the spring house is still there, the upper floor is gone. And so this is where this would have been moderately, it is right now, moderately cool. And would act, you know, as a wine storage. Got their butter, cream, and churns here. Now, not all spring houses are actually documented. There are quite a few that exist on private property or attached to continued existing structures. And even to find these, took a little bit of research to figure out where I was going today. And many were torn down because they posed a danger to kids, especially in the early 1900s, late 1800s. Let's go downstairs. So this would have been, I believe, Tucker Station. And I kind of talked about it in the previous video, but the stations referred initially to stagecoach stops in the early pioneer days, and later the railroad. And you can hear the train coming through, which would have crossed the station. Basically how it worked is you'd have a farm like this, Moses Tyler up here, and if the settlement, this homestead grew large enough, you might get lucky and the train would come through and they'd build a post office. And when they built a post office, well, that was when you had made it. You were now a town. Oh. You just start silencing my phone. And that's what happened here. It became a town. Let's go down here. And there you have, still to this day, the running spring water coming in right there. And over there. And back in the day, I believe they built a trough. Somebody like that there probably went out through that hole, which is where nice cool water. It would go out into a trough. So still working spring house. And a great start to our journey today. This will probably be the most well kept. I should have saved the best for last, you know, I mean. But while this is the best maintained and preserved of the spring houses, it's not necessarily the best story. Here's the exterior. Probably there was a trough here at some point. It goes right down into the cistern. What do you know? It looks like, I don't know if it's humans, but something still comes down here to drink or to sit in the water. There's an old liquor bottle over there. Actually, it's not like an old liquor bottle. It's just a liquor bottle. All right. Well, there you go. Let's go see what more we can find. I need to come back to Black Acre. You could definitely do a whole vlog just on this property here. This was donated, about 300 acres here, to a conservatory. And just open and available. That beautiful old swing. So check it out sometime. We've got livestock. We've got all sorts of trails. I believe you can go in some of these places. Again, I'll come back. We'll do this place. But on to the next spring house. We'll see. I've got a list of possible locations. I have no idea what we're going to find, how many, or if that'll be the first and last one that we're able to access. We'll find out shortly. Join me. Let's go. Baby cow. Baby cow alert. So I've been looking in this neighborhood. Now apparently the lady says it might be right here. I have hopes that she's correct. I've been trapsing through the woods. Now there's supposed to be a spring house here that is in the subdivision. I don't know where. I don't know if it's going to be visible from the road or what. I keep driving around looking for it. She said it's here on this road though, so look for it and see if I find it. Get right back to you. Uh-oh, I see something. I see something promising. It's funny. Oh, so far you just see the roof of these things, but I believe I may have just found it. I just seemingly behind the fence. Yep, that's it. All right, let me get out and get down here. And here we are. We found another one. Now this is the James Floyd Station spring house. Now shortened to Floyd Station, I think. It's right here in this subdivision. And there is still a spring there. You can see it trickling down there. Well, this one competes with the Chenoweth spring house for oldest building. So I was wrong about the other one at the Black Acre estate. So that was 1790. This is 1779 for the oldest building in Kentucky. It was being maintained before 22 and falling victim to vandals. It used to have 2 stories. There are some remaining pictures with both stories. It looks like a historical marker on there. Now I'm not going to step into that mark to read that marker. I have to take a photo on my phone. I can get in here a little better. So the marker says, original spring house of Floyd Station, 1779, built by Revolutionary War patriot and Kentucky pioneer Colonel John Floyd, who lived from 1750 to 83. We did it, folks. We found it. If I had some wading boots, I would go in there. But again, when it comes to this water with the film on it, and I'm wearing Crocs, there's a lot of contamination. You just don't ever know. I'm still tempted. Don't get me wrong, I am tempted. I just don't see a good way in. It'd be great if I had a super long selfie stick. So this was Floyd's Station on the Middle Fork of the Beargrass Creek. Present St. Matthews was established by John Floyd in November of 1779, generally acknowledged to be the first station established along the creek and the first settlement established in present Jefferson County after the founding of Louisville in May of 1778 by George Rogers Clark. Other stations and farms would be scattered along the three forks of Beargrass, Pond Creek, and across the county. Letters written by Floyd from the station record that a number of cabins and a fort were constructed, not specifically mentioned, but a fixture of all stations and farms would have been the spring house. You can see still water down there. Can't get in there. Can't get in there easily and dryly. Might be worth a visit someday. Now, many of these were destroyed. Most of them weren't recorded because they were basically only refrigerators. And people were writing historical records and recording them. The spring houses were not particularly high on the list of things to discuss. But the high salinity levels of this water made it very popular for buffalo, deer, other animals coming through here for the natural salt licks, the mineral water, establishing things like the buffalo trace through this area. I'm going to go over to the other side here. See if I can maybe see in through this grate. There's a grate over here. Now it is likely that this will be the last in good condition that I'll see. I don't know. You can see in there a little bit though. Break this twig. If I drop my camera, I'm definitely going to be going in there, won't I? So there was a second story. You can see the creek, or the spring still actively flowing. It is still doing what it was meant to do, covering the wellhead of this spring. Well, I gotta say, I feel pretty good about finding that. It's 2 for 2. I fully don't expect to be able to find every spring house that I'm in search of here, just because so many were destroyed, damaged, or just lost. In fact, despite this being, these are very fragile. Despite this being right here, no one in the office was familiar with the spring house until I showed the video to one lady in the office. She said, "Well, do you know what it looked? Can you show me a picture?" And she said, "Oh, I think I know where that is." So people know it's here, just don't know what it is. Most people don't care. You can see back there, bricks. There are photographs taken. I believe this is the one. There would have been a second story. And you can see up here, there were struck, if I'm not mistaken, There might have been a house or something back up there, but there was like a trail going up, I guess you'd say. But I don't know. I'm right here exploring with you. No expert on spring houses, but I do have the opportunity to document them for posterity, for other people to enjoy, to remember them, as they will be gone if they're not preserved. That one back there needs roof work. Unless someone comes in to preserve it, it won't be. It's just right there in the middle of the parking lot. Okay, well, it's 2 for 2. See if our luck continues. On to the next. I just noticed that I was leaving this location. There's a marker, the entrance to that apartment complex. John Floyd's grave. Grave of John Floyd near here, pioneer and surveyor, born in Amherst County, Virginia, 1750. He was killed being ambushed by Indians in Jefferson County, the District of Kentucky, 1783, colonel of militia and county lieutenant of Jefferson County. Now I wonder if that refers to the Long Run massacre where I was last night. There are others in today's story that had family involved there. Did he die? Did John Floyd die at the massacre of Long Run, or was this just another one? Again, there was a whole lot of murder by Indians happening against colonists here. In 1783, sounds about right on the date. I don't know where his grave is. That's not the mission today. And I've got several of these spring houses more. I'm still trying to find. Not really marked. I don't know if I'll find them or not, so I need some time to explore. So, apparently his grave is near here as well. I'm guessing near the spring house. I do not know. Cool fact though. Well, folks, looks like we found another one. Found one here in another subdivision. And once again, you just can see it. You can just see the very roof of it sticking out like the other two. All right, let me get out here and check it out. This is at the Spring House Apartment Complex. Kind of just came here on a whim because it was called Spring House Apartments. Maybe there's a spring house. What do you know? Who'd have thunk it? Gotta say, I'm kind of thrilled that we've managed to get 3 out of 3 here. Did not expect them to be very easy to find. Not sure why. There it is. Sure as the dickens. Looks like there's even this one I know nothing about. Did a brief Google search, didn't see anything. So I don't know what this was originally attached to. Spring house, small building, single room constructed over spring. So this tells you what a spring house is, but also does not give any history as to the spring house. So curious if any of you out there know the history of this. I'm sure if one was motivated enough that you could get onto some surveys or plots or whatever at the town hall, find out who owned this property in the time, and figure out what this was. Now here you can see this one, unlike the other two, appears to have dried up or been diverted. I don't see, but this would have been where water certainly flowed out down here once upon a time. Can I get you in there? Do you see any moisture or anything in there? Now this one has. I would say that's a new roof. Looks like there's some modern brackets in there. So somebody has gone out of their way to preserve this old spring house. So this looks like old, but I don't think it is. It's definitely what's underneath it is fresher, newer wood. Oh, that one's still not aged all the way through. But would love to know if anybody has any info on this one. Any history. I do not see any standing water in here. There is a wooden bench over there though. Presumably maybe where you could sit or where you would keep your jarred goods, milk and cheese and whatever else, I guess. I don't know. But super cool. Hey, we found 3. 3 for 3. Wonder if we can keep the streak up. How cool is that? Who'd have thunk? On to the next. Well, I am in, allegedly, the vicinity of another spring house. They say it was near some old tennis courts. There's Shelbyville and Blankenbaker. And across from Price Weber, which is that building. Again, it's maybe over here, or it might be back over here. But I did see the sign. Old marker here, Perryville Prelude. 2 largest skirmishes of the Civil War in Jefferson County occurred here. September 27th and 30th, 1862. Confederate forces already in control of the state capital were threatening Louisville. In the first clash, the Confederates were driven back to Floyd's Fork. 3 days later, CSA again halted at Union Line. Both were preliminary to the Battle of Perryville on October 8, 1862. Same with the back end. But yeah, I'm gonna go over there and check. Just ride around, see if I see it. This is literally, I saw one sentence on a Reddit post that there had been one here. I don't know if it still is. I have not a clue. Won't spend too much time looking before I'll move on. But there's not only so many places it could be. So if it's here, I think I'll find it. And I think we found it. This is the Douglas Hills neighborhood off of Shelbyville Road. And that is it. Down there. This once impressive stone spring house was topped with a roof and benches. And this is the last known remnant of what was once a 300-acre horse farm here in Middletown, owned by Colonel James Douglas. The spring house is located in what's now Douglas Hills, a large subdivision. And this one has not been maintained or restored. According to the Kentucky Encyclopedia, an early settler of what later became Douglas Hills was John Womack, who married Sarah Boone Bryan in 1813 and built for her an elegant brick house that was then at the west end of Middletown. Womack was a prominent citizen and helped organize the Middletown Christian Church. The Womack property was later owned by Nicholas Fenzer, Swiss immigrant. His widow, Agnes Fenzer, sold the 300-acre estate to Colonel James Douglas, who moved here in 1896 and lived in, quote, elegant style. until his death in 1917. He was an ardent racer, loved horses. Now this was also after the Douglas time era, was the Buchel property. Buchel, I'm not sure Buchel or Buchel. George Buchel lived here with his sister, Wilhelma Buchel, operated a dairy farm. Buchel is a well-known businessman in the city, co-founder of Sutcliffe's, a dry goods store in downtown, and president of the Merchants Association of Louisville. This one has no roof, but seawater. Still active. Watch out for water moccasins, copperheads. There you have it. There's still a flow of water coming from in there. I don't know if that's drainage, runoff, or the spring, or a combination. I'm guessing it is a spring. Here it is. The interior. So this one also had big benches on it. Get down in here. There's a cistern here. Benches going around. I'm guessing you could just come sit and stay cool. That is 4 for 4. 4 for 4. You can tell there were also another system of shelves coming out. And according to what we just read, this would have been similar to the first one we saw today, the 2-story one. There would have been another story above for churning your butter, storing your wine, those sorts of things. Now, ironically, nowadays, the spring runs outside of the spring house. The floor of the spring house is dry. But it doesn't take much imagination to figure out what was going on here. There's a spring coming out. One right there. There's probably a wooden trough that came through here at one point, filtered in, or went down. I'm not an archaeologist, but at one point that water came through. I'm guessing there's probably some sort of a walkway or bridge as well at some point accessing the second floor, so this would have probably been covered here as well. But there you go, folks. That is the 4th spring house we found. And of course, there's this pretty deep little well there. Fill up with water. Can dip your bucket in there, maybe? I don't know. Really don't. There it is, folks. All right. So that's the Douglas spring house. Shall we continue on our journey? I say we shall. Now you can see this. I believe that over there is the Highlands Latin School, or the Latin School. I'm not sure if it's the Highlands, but Lincoln Baker here, Shelbyville here. You can see this from the road. Number 4. Number 4. Got 1 or 2 more. Got one I definitely want to get because it has an amazing story. Let's see if I can find one more. Find one, maybe 2 more. A place called Springhouse Cove. I wonder what could be hidden here. So I went to Springhouse Apartments and I found a spring house. I'm gonna see if I can double my luck here. I don't know if there's any actual record of there being a spring house here, but with the name, it seems like if there's not one here now, there likely was at some point in the past. So I just kind of put the address in here to the subdivision, assuming maybe I'd be able to see it if it's here. This is the one. Actually, I didn't really know about most of these. There's two that I knew were still standing. Just didn't know access wise. So there may or may not be an active spring house here. But I saw a lady standing out here. Someone asked her. Maybe she knows. Sometimes the locals, they'll know where stuff is. They walk around, walk the dogs and stuff. So if there is one, they might know. Excuse me. It's called Springhouse Cove. Is there still a spring house?
Yeah.
There is?
Yeah.
Where is that?
If you go down there and look, there's a little white building back behind a couple of the houses. You kind of look in between it and see it. It's back in there.
So it's on somebody's backyard, basically?
Well, this is all community property.
Okay.
These are considered standalone patio homes.
Okay.
But yeah, it's still back there.
So if I go right back and take a left.
Take the left, and then
To the dead end, okay.
yeah, but you don't have to go all the way down. I think it's two houses.
Okay,
two houses
between them.
up this way. Look back, and you'll see it back.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm trying to hunt them all down today. All right, so sounds like there's one here. Like I said, sometimes you just ask the neighbors. Oh, they'll probably know. So, they said I'd see it back in between. I'm looking between, trying to see. Okay, I think you mentioned like a brick garage building. I think that's what I'm seeing. Just gonna kind of step into here real quick, because I have a feeling if it's here, it's probably right here. There's a couple of buildings I'm seeing. Well, no, I see it. I think that's it right there. I think that might be it right back there. Now, I have no history on this one at all. Nothing about this one. I literally came here because it's called Springhouse Cove. And you would assume that if it's called that, there is a spring house. There it is. Now, this has been converted into what would appear to be kind of a gazebo area. Which is cool, because it is preserved. People are using it, enjoying it still. So I'm a big guy. I'm gonna have to kind of get down and just scoot down on my butt down here. Here you have it, folks. Found another one. What do you say? What do you say? That is 5, 4, 5. And sure enough, there's still water flowing into the spring house. How about that? It's like a raccoon, maybe. I don't know. But we did it, folks. Cool that they've repurposed this as a gazebo. Now I'm assuming this is kind of, maybe this is where you'd put maybe a barrel, you think? Or maybe that was just the water well. I don't know. Maybe you guys would know better. It's just easy access. You walk right down and here it is. So I'm curious if that was, it's about barrel sized. Maybe a milk churn or cream churn. So I don't know. But we did it. Right here. One thing I've noticed about all the spring houses, there's lots of blunt wraps and vape stuff. I think these are the fake drugs. Still some in there too. Something in there. People bring all this stuff in here. Hey, back in my day, I would have probably been spliffing in here as well. How cool is that though? This might be the coolest one to me. Just I love that feature. That's cool. All right, see if I can get out of here. Big fella. That's when I'm walking around the exterior of it. And that was the room we were in. Right there. Now we're standing on it. Huh. This is another one. Would be curious to know the history on. There are no placards, no markers. In fact, because of the gazebo structure they've built on that one, I wouldn't have known that was a spring house. They could pass as just a gazebo. All right, last place. Onward. Hopefully we can get to this last one. It's located in a rock quarry on private commercial land. They're supposedly pretty amicable for people, but let's see. We'll see when we get there. Let's go. Well, I might not get closer than this. Gotta find an office. The rock quarry here, not far from my house, Middletown. And I'm very close right now to another spring station, spring house, but I don't know exactly where it is. But this would be the Chenoweth spring house, if I find it. If not, I'll just tell the story here, because we are within probably 100 yards of it. There's some sort of this brush. We're exploring now. I have no idea. Wait. I think I might see it. I think I might have found it, folks. Now you may notice the color of these clouds in the water. This is a concrete plant. Everything here is covered in dust. Now, I kind of think it might be right there. I actually thought this one wouldn't be so hard to find as much as access, and I might still be right about that. But it's been difficult all around. I have no idea if I'm heading in the right direction, the wrong direction. For a minute, I thought I saw a structure up there, and now I don't see it. Just a mirage. Folks, I think I'm gonna have to call it. 5 out of 6 today. I was unable to locate the final spring house. I'm within spitting distance. I could toss a rock on it, but it is thick in every direction, and I don't know the precise location. I have the coordinates, but that leaves quite a bit in this dense brush, and I'm on an active quarry, so just gonna call it. I think I still got to walk out of here, so I'll keep my eye out. But this would have been somewhere here. Is still standing in rough shape, but still here. The Chenoweth spring house. Captain Richard Chenoweth was one of the first white settlers in what is now Jefferson County. In 1778, he acquired land in 1785 along the tributaries of Floyd's Fork, what's now Middletown, that was then part of Virginia, and built a frame farmhouse here, and also the fortified stone spring house. Sometime around then, he moved his family to his own property, known as Chenoweth Station. But on July 17th, 1789, the Chenoweth home was raided by a group of Shawnee Indians, resulting in what would later be known as the Chenoweth Massacre. A band of Native Americans, this would have been during the Northwest Indian Wars, a band of Native Americans attacked his home, and they murdered 3 of his children. They also killed 2 soldiers on site in what European Americans have termed the Chenoweth Massacre. His farmhouse there was burned to the ground. One of the guards was burned at a stake, burned alive. Now, both of them were wounded, but took refuge in the spring house. Now, legend has it that Peggy Chenoweth, Richard's wife, was shot with an arrow in the back while she was fleeing. She fell to the ground where an Indian warrior stepped on her back, ripped the arrow out, and scalped her alive, leaving her for dead. Scalping, one of the worst things that could happen to you in that period. It's not only a great humiliation, it was unbearably painful and a slow, agonizing death. Not typically survivable. People did survive them. Now, Peggy and her husband managed to make it to this spring house right here. Now, there's the water down there. I'm close. Gosh, I wish I could see it. Wish I could get there right now. They made it to the water. She made it scalped. Dunked her head in the water there to relieve the pain in the cold water. Now, she actually lived to tell the tale. She survived the scalping. Lived to be a ripe old age. Had children, grandchildren, I believe. I'm not sure her family lineage, but She lived a natural life, having been scalped alive by Native Americans. Again, the Shawnees. It's not the first station house today. We're at the site of a massacre. It was death here, all around these woods. No matter where you were, who you were, how wealthy you were, death was always waiting. And it came. And that's Chenoweth's spring house. I wish I could see it. I've linked and we'll show some footage from other YouTubers and explorers who have found it. It's better apparently to get here in the fall, winter, when you can see it. Right now everything is brushed out and not knowing exactly where it is. It's just kind of a crap shot, and I'm big and this terrain is rocky. So a lot of effort to go up, find out it's not there, and try to come back and then set out in a different direction. So thank you for joining me. This is the Colonel. And we found 5 out of 6 spring houses today. I'm gonna call that a win. The one that we didn't find here is probably one of the most documented ones because of its dark history. Till next time, love you guys. And this vlog has got to find its way out of this rock quarry. Ooh, the mosquitoes. We went through a lot of mosquitoes. Yeah, that was a lot of mosquitoes right there. This is against my better judgments. It's like freaking alligators in here. That was so sketchy. Ooh, no. Alright, I'm out of there. Whew. Tell you what though, it was hairy. I fell in the pipe, got my breeches wet. I'm in the wrong mode here. So I fell in the pipe, it got wet. Then I sunk into a sinkhole, quicksand a little bit in the creek. Sucked off both of my shoes, my Crocs. I had to get down kind of on my hands and knees in the water, dig those out of the mud. About that time, the police are screaming at me, "Hey, you down there?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm down here." They're like, "You looking for something?" I was like, "Yeah, looking for the thing." Anyway, they see my car out of place and seeing what was going on. By the time I got out, the officer told me to go up to the office that they would show me the what I was looking for. But I'm soaking wet. Both of my Crocs are full of mud, scratched up, and kind of felt like an idiot. So might do that. I might go back. Police were very friendly. The owners weren't mad. They were just concerned. And I might go back now that I know where to go. There's a bunch of buildings on there. I can't tell you what the name of the one is. I drove around a bit looking for what might be like the secretary's, I don't know, office. But anyway, I know where it is now. It looks like a way station. I guess if you go in there and ask them, they'll walk you right over there to it instead of you having to hike through the creek bed like me. But it was an adventure. I got to have a little bit of an adventure. Very thankful that they were very forgiving and understanding and didn't give me a hard time. Let me go. But that was it. That was 6. That was well, 5 out of 6. But for all the hell I went through, I'm gonna give myself 5.5 out of 6 on that. Just self-congratulatory pat on the back. Probably gonna kick myself later for not just taking the officer up on the option to just go in the office and go down there. But I mean, if you could see me right now, I look ridiculous. I feel like the biggest idiot. So I gotta walk in there like both my legs are covered in gray mud. My sandals, my pant breeches are wet, covered in dirt. I look a hot mess. I got grass and sticks in my hair. Probably got a bunch of ticks. Got something hanging on my beard. Yeah. Not today. But anyway, love you.